Hi, we are time travelers trying to learn more about the field of astronomy throughout history.
More specifically, we want to illuminate the stories of female astronomers, the brilliant women whose groundbreaking contributions to astronomy have shaped our understanding of the universe.
You've likely heard of Newton, or Galileo, but have you heard of Henrietta Swan-Levin, Professor Jocelyn Bell Burnell, or Sophia Brahe? These women were all extremely impactful in the field of astronomy, yet their names are often too forgotten in the narrative.
That's why we've decided to go on a journey and dive into their stories. With this segment, we're planning to take you on a journey throughout space and time to meet the wonderful female astronomers and learn about their struggles, their triumphs, and their invaluable contributions to science.
Don't go anywhere. Illuminating Story starts right now. Our first stop is the 1600s.
Let's go!
Whoa! Oh my god, we made it! We time traveled! Hi, Sophia Brahe. We've come from the year 2024.
Yes, we're studying female astronomers for our final project in our astronomy class. We were wondering if you'd be willing to help us answer a few questions.
Of course! I would love to help you girls get an A on your astronomy project.
That's amazing to hear. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I was born on August 24th, 1559 in Denmark as the youngest sibling of 10 children. My parents, Ott Brahe, who was a nobleman and statesman, and my mother, Beat Bill Brahe, were very wealthy. While there were a lot of us, I really didn't have a close relationship with anybody in my family besides my older brother, Tycho. We were connected through our work in science. The rest of our family didn't believe science was an appropriate career path for members of the aristocrats.
Is your relationship with your brother Tycho how you got interested in the field of astronomy?
Actually, Tycho didn't originally think I was capable of such a high education. He was willing to tutor me in chemistry, mathematics, German, Latin, and classical literature. But I learned astronomy largely on my own through textbooks.
Wow, so you were like a real-life Barbie?
Who's Barbie?
Never mind her. So, since you pursued so many different subjects, how did you end up picking astronomy as your main focus?
Well, to be honest, astronomy kind of picked me. I'd always helped enjoying Tycho with his observations. In 1572, at just the age of 13, I helped Tycho with his observation of the supernova he named Nova Stella. At the age of 14, I assisted Tycho in observing a lunar eclipse.
That's amazing! You're so young. What happened after that?
Well, I loved assisting Tycho in his work. I was able to help him with data collection, star observations, and cataloging celestial bodies. But because I was a noble woman, I was obliged to marry a noble man. In 1579, I married my first husband, Otto Thott, where shortly after, I had my first and only child, Tage. When Otto died in 1588, I was able to pursue science once again. I managed my late husband's estate in Eriksholm, Scania, where I became an excellent horticulturalist and created many knot gardens. I even built myself a laboratory in my gardens. However, during this time, I spent most of my days on Tycho's island of Haven, which had a magnificent scientific institute. I was his research assistant in astronomy, astrology, and alchemy. My most important scientific contributions at Haven were primarily in the field of alchemy.
How long did you work there for?
In 1589, I met my second husband, Eric Lange, who was also passionate about the field of alchemy. Because he was in great debt, Tycho was the only family member to support me in my new relationship, which meant a lot. As my husband continuously tried to prove his work, we quickly spiraled into great poverty, so much so that Tycho even wrote a poem about our love. I was so in love, I even began trying to use my own money to pay off his debts. Soon after, my best friend and brother died. I was distraught, as he was really the only male figure in my life. Eric and I got married shortly after. We were so poor that I had to pawn off my wedding dress and jewelry.
Wow, well thank you for sharing your life story. After reflecting back, what would you say your greatest accomplishment throughout your career was?
I would say my greatest career accomplishment would be my collaboration with my brother Tycho on our astronomical observations. These observations set the scene for modern planetary orbit predictions.
What would you say the biggest setback in your career was?
My biggest career setback was the fact that I am a woman. As a woman in the 16th century, I faced a lot of limitations in being able to pursue a formal education. The gender norms of my time confined my scientific role and achievements.
You would be so happy to see how times have changed in 2024. Women are free to become whatever they would like. Thank you so much for letting us interview you. Your story has touched us and inspired women across the world. Thank you, Sophia.
Hi, Professor Henrietta Swan-Levin.
We have heard so much about your groundbreaking work on Cepheid variable stars. How are you?
Hi there, I'm well. A bit surprised to see you. I was hoping people would remember my scientific work.
Oh, Henrietta, it's not like 1868 was that long ago. We are here on an important astronomical journey. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to your huge discovery?
Well, I was born in Lancaster, Massachusetts, into a strict Puritan family that valued education. Despite losing my hearing progressively throughout my adult life, I was determined to pursue science. I graduated from Radcliffe College in 1892. Back then, it was called the Society for the Collegiate Instruction of Women. I then began working at Harvard College Observatory, initially as a volunteer, and then as a low-paid assistant under Edward Charles Pickering.
Wow, that sounds challenging, especially for a woman in science during that time.
Yes, please tell us about your remarkable discovery.
Of course, I spent hours meticulously examining photographic plates of the Magellanic Clouds. By carefully comparing these plates taken at different times, I discovered something extraordinary. I found that the brighter Cepheid variable stars have longer periods of brightness fluctuation. This might sound simple, but it was revolutionary. I developed a mathematical relationship that could essentially create a measuring tape for the universe. These standard candles, as we know them today, are used to measure the distance to very, very far stars.
How was the distance to stars measured before your time?
Before my time, most distant stars were measured using a stellar parallax. A simple way of understanding this mechanism is by placing your finger in front of your face. You can then proceed by squinting one eye and then the other. The finger in front of you appears to move and shift left and right. It's never in one spot.
Wow, your work sounds incredible. Look, Piper, you can see the way the parallax works with your finger.
Anyways, did you receive the recognition you deserved at the time?
Well, recognition was a little complicated. I worked during an era when women in science were very, very overlooked. I was a part of the Harvard Computers, in addition, in my early life, a group of women who did detailed astronomical data analysis. Despite publishing only 4 scientific papers in my lifetime and working primarily in my spare time, my work became fundamental to 20th century cosmology understanding. Sadly, I did die in 1921 before fully understanding how revolutionary my discoveries were.
Even with all the challenges you face, from hearing loss to professional limitations, you truly made a difference with your extraordinary patience and methodical approach.
What do you hope will be the lasting impact of your work?
I hope my work shows that scientific discovery isn't about the grand gestures, but about careful, systematic observation. I really do want to inspire others, especially women, to pursue science and be patient, and to look over details because you could easily miss something important. My research helped prove the universe is far larger and more dynamic than we ever could have imagined. These stars are not just a few miles away. My work provided the fundamentals for understanding cosmic distances and ultimately the expansion of the universe.
You are truly an inspiration to scientists everywhere.
We time traveled yet again. Hi there, Jocelyn Bell Burnell.
We've heard so much about you and your breakthrough discoveries of pulsars. How are you? We've traveled a long way to get here.
Hi, dearies. You must call me Jocelyn. Also, why do I look like this? I'm still alive, you know.
Oh no, we're so sorry.
Yes, let us fix that.
Now, I know I'm old, but I'm still 81 and thriving.
Yes, born in 1943 and still doing great things.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to make such a huge discovery.
Well, I was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, 81 years ago, into a family of 6. My dad was an architect who helped me build a planetarium, which inspired to learn more about astronomy. As a young student, I was encouraged to study cooking and cross-stitching and let the boys study technical subjects. But thankfully, my parents challenged school policies and I was able to not only take science, but go on to impress all of my teachers. I went on to graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree in physics from the University of Glasgow in 1965 and then attend Newhall, Cambridge, gaining a PhD in radio astronomy in 1969.
Wow, that sounds like a lot, especially as a woman studying in male-dominated fields.
Yes, please tell us more about your discovery of pulsars.
During my time at Newhall, I built a prototype and then spent 2 years with 5 others, including my supervisor, Anthony Hewish, building a radio telescope that was intended to study radio emissions from quasars, which were newly discovered objects at the time. Together, we set up 120 miles of wire and cable over a 4-acre patch of British countryside for the radio telescope to receive incoming radio signals. By the end of my research, I had more than 5 kilometers of paper charts, of which I checked every single millimeter. One day, I noticed a pulse I couldn't explain. Upon further examination and determination, that strange pulse is how I discovered the pulsar.
Now, could you tell us a little more about what a pulsar really is?
Yes, a pulsar in short terms is the remnants of a large star that exploded in a supernova. The star's core is made of neutrons, and its small size and density cause it to rotate very quickly. It almost looks like a very bright beam of light pulsing in the sky. While I only discovered the first 4 over 2 months, over 3,000 have been discovered as of today.
You are truly an inspiration to women and scientists everywhere. With that accomplishment, did you get the credit you deserved?
Well, after my discovery of pulsars with the help of my colleagues, I published a paper with my advisor, Anthony Hewish, on our findings. However, only Hewish and another colleague of mine, Martin Ryle, were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1974 for the discovery of pulsars. But aside from that, I was awarded the Breakthrough Prize in 2018, which gave me the money to donate all €2.3 million prize to help underrepresented groups become physicists. It is now being administered by the Institute of Physics as the Bell Burnell Graduate Scholarship Fund to 4 postgraduate students in physics in the UK. In addition to that, just 3 years ago, I was also awarded the Copley Medal.
Wow, even with all your setbacks from being a young woman trying to study technical subjects to receiving the recognition you deserve, you truly made a difference with all your very hard work. Going forward, what do you think the greater impact of your work will have in the field of astronomy and astrophysics?
My work has opened up new methods to study the cosmos and has allowed computers to be programmed to look for things we didn't even know existed before my discovery. Beyond just that, I hope that all my work as a mentor and advocate for diversity in science will encourage others to shoot for the stars and expand their horizons, whether you are a man or a woman.
You are truly leaving behind a legacy of inspiring leadership in the scientific community.
Thank you so much for your time, Professor Bell. We can't wait to see what you accomplish in the future.
For our final interview, we will be returning to UVA grounds to meet with Professor Shazri Muhammad. Professor Muhammad graduated from Harvard University with a bachelor's degree in astrophysics and mathematics. From there, she later attended the University of Oxford, where she earned an additional degree in astrophysics. Professor Muhammad currently works at the University of Virginia as an associate professor, specializes in supercomputer simulations of single and binary stars in their final phases of evolution.
During our interview with Professor Muhammad, she shared her inspiring story with us about how she got started in this field of work. When Professor Muhammad was little, she was interested in becoming an astronaut. She worked hard in school growing up and eventually made her way to America from Zimbabwe. Professor Muhammad attended Harvard, where she joined ROTC because 1, many astronauts have prior military experience, and 2, foreign ROTC students earn their citizenship. However, on September 11th, all of the foreign students were kicked out due to the Twin Tower terrorist attacks. This ended Professor Muhammad's dream of becoming an astronaut, which redirected her into the astronomy world, where she was able to answer her questions by using simulations and completing research.
We asked Professor Muhammad about her experience as a female in the astronomy department here at UVA. She went on to explain that often her students referred to her as Miss Muhammad instead of Professor. In general, she felt as though that many of her male colleagues do not experience this in the astronomy field. When we asked Professor Muhammad about any female astronomers who inspired her endeavors, Cherise explained that she was mentored by Jocelyn Bell at Oxford University. Interestingly enough, we have just time traveled to see Jocelyn Bell. We explained to her the knowledge we required about her as a powerful female figure. Cherise expanded our viewpoint of Bell's accomplishments by highlighting many of her experiences with catcalling and gender discrimination. At the end of our interview, we asked Professor Muhammad about a current astronomical event that she was personally interested in. She went on to explain the phenomenon of white dwarf explosions.
White dwarf explosions are caused by material dumped from a companion star. These recurrent novae, like T. Carone Borealis, a white dwarf with red giant companion, erupt roughly every 1,000 years. However, some have more frequent eruptions of around 100 years or so. The last outburst of T. Carone Borealis was around 1940s, and recent activity, including dips in brightness, has sparked speculation of a potential eruption soon. We were then lucky enough to view a simulation of a white dwarf explosion from various viewpoints.
And then the beauty of 3D is that you can look at it at a different angle, right? So we can look at it now edge on, and then you can see what it looks like perpendicular to that. And this is called a nova explosion.
That was quite the journey. Well, that concludes our time traveling throughout history and learning more about the incredible stories of women who have shaped the field of astronomy.
From the groundbreaking contributions of Sophia Brahe in the Renaissance, to the revolutionary discovery of Cepheid variable stars by Henrietta Swan Leavitt, to Jocelyn Bell Burnham's pivotal role in the discovery of pulsars, these women have not only advanced our understanding of the universe, but have also defied the odds of their times.
As we saw in present times with Professor Shariz Mohammed, women continue to play a vital role in the world of astronomy today, pushing boundaries and inspiring the next generation of scientists.
We hope this video has inspired you and led you to recognize the immense contributions of women throughout history and continue to shine a light on the futures of female astronomers.
Time to go make a difference!